faithful Christians, we serve the Almighty.
Today my guest is David Liscum.
So no matter how bad things get in our life, God still gives us things every day to hold on to.
Pass it on, share the gospel clear and strong. Stand for, claim your heritage of truth.
Welcome to Heritage of Truth. Today my guest is David Liscum. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Now you are part of a worship band, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and where are y'all located?
We're located in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area.
Okay, and you've done an album?
Yeah, we did an album, Into the Great Unknown, and through City of Peace and Capitol Records.
What was the focus of this particular release?
There were actually a lot of things going on. I think anytime that you do an album, it's a journey, it's a process, just like anything in life. And so when we got done with the album, we were thinking about what do we want to call the album, what's the message. And for us, just kind of the journey that we were walking through and something that I was walking through personally. And the title of the album is called Into the Great Unknown, and it's actually taken from that lines in Oceans by Hillsong, where it talks about you call me out upon the water, the great unknown, where feet may fail. And it was just a really deep thing that the Lord was walking me through, where there are things that He will lead us into, and we don't always understand why He does them, and we don't always understand how it's going to turn out. We have to walk on water where our feet may fail, and so I thought that was an appropriate title for the album. So, yes.
Okay. Well, tell us about the type of music that you all play.
Well, we actually do like a really wide variety of different things. So we did 5 songs with Ed Cash, who's produced like Chris Tomlin and Carrie Joe, and I have a lot of influences from Chris Tomlin and David Crowder and that type of. But we also like all kinds of different music, and so what we wanted to do with this album, we didn't know this originally, but as we started to progress, we noticed a lot of albums that come out that it's like if you've heard one song, you've kind of heard the whole album. And we didn't want to do that, and we wanted to have some, a little bit of surprises in there. So one of the songs it's really an epic song. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. It's called New Life. It actually isn't a worship song at all. It was actually written for The Identical, the movie that our label that we work with is on. And it's a very different sounding. There's strings and violins, and it's very kind of cinematic and very movie-esque type of song. So we like that, and we have like a couple of acoustic worship that's on there, and just there's a good variety. I feel like we were really happy when we finished the album because we felt like that there was something for everybody on there.
So is it mostly worship songs?
It is mostly worship songs, and there's a couple of songs that I just would call them like Christian songs. So there's a song on there called Rejoice, and it's not really a worship song, but it's just talking about and everything that we do, rejoice in the Lord. And so we like that. We like that variety, and I think people do too. And it kind of represents who we are as a band too. We're really diverse, and we have really diverse backgrounds, and we wanted to encompass that in the album.
Well, I know a lot of people in the church complain about what they call 7-11 songs, where 7 words you repeat 11 times. I did look at your lyrics, and you don't have a lot of that repetitive stuff. Now, you do a lot of the writing, don't you?
I do most of the writing. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how did you get into that? Is that something you've always wanted to do, or?
Really, I was a part of a really amazing church for a long time called Harvard Church, and when I was there at that time, it was just we had many different worship leaders,
Mm-hmm.
and just being around that, and many people that were way better than I was, and being able to learn and see what they do, and just really watching the Lord move. Mm-hmm. And it just, if you're around that, it rubs off on you after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so a lot of the songs we actually we had home fellowship time, and I was one of the worship leaders for home fellowship, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the songs, the choruses came out of that time in home fellowship. God would give me one chorus during that prayer time or that Bible study, and then I would go home and I would write around that chorus after I was done.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, so do you guys go around doing concerts like most people who put out albums?
Yeah, right now we don't have a tour plan. We do have right now we're in the process of putting together an overseas missions trip. So it might be a far way off, but we look for, instead of doing like these concert tours and this type of thing to promote an album, we look, and when we play, we like to minister. We like to pray for people. We like to be hands-on, and so after the Lord allowed me to do a couple of those types of different things, which we didn't really plan on doing, God kind of set the tone of like, this is what your ministry is supposed to look like. And so I mean, we would be open to touring around, because it wouldn't change who we are as a group and where our heart is. But right now we're focused on we're trying to put it together now. Our next project will be doing an overseas trip. It'll be like a 10-day tour overseas. We'll do mission work. We'll film it, and the purpose of it will be to encourage the body to go and spread the gospel.
Great.
Yes, which I think is so needed right now.
Oh, it's much better than touring.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Much better
Yeah,
than touring.
absolutely. So it's like you can do something like that, and it will. Not only will it be life changing for us, but momentum of a moment that if we were to do something like that versus a tour. I mean, anybody can go out and do a tour or whatever. So.
But that's wonderful. I'm glad you're going to be doing that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
That's fantastic. If your listeners were going to take away just one thing from The Great Unknown, what would you want it to be?
That's a hard question, because what I'm hoping is that that God meets their needs individually. So I'm not looking for, specifically one thing. I hope that whatever it is, because we put so much variety on there, that my hope would be is that if one song could speak to them in their heart, and that they could connect with that, and then another person, completely different, has a completely different need, and then that would, connect with them. But my favorite song on the album varies from week to week.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. So it does
just
vary.
depending on, so I have a lot of, I'll listen and I'll be like, oh man, I love that song, no, I love this song. So, it's just, which I like that.
A lot of songwriters write out of pain. Have any of your songs come out of pain?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, actually one of my favorite songs right now is Praise Your Name Forever. And it was also kind of encompassed in the title of the album, and just trusting the Lord in those like really, really hard places. And actually my home group at the time, we had, the song was actually written, a lot of people in our home group were having really tough times. We had people that were losing homes, and we had one lady who lost her son. She was like 18. He was like 18 or 19 years old. And so, you know, when you're in a small group like that, and you know, my wife and I were going through, you know, tough financial times as well. And so in that place, you're like, God, you know, where are you, and all this stuff that's going on, and so that particular song, I had, you know, written. I think the lyric is, through the trials and the pain, I will praise your name. You know, that no matter what, like we still have to press in, and even in those moments, like the second verse says, it talks about just focusing on the things that we see miracles every day. Like, you know, I think about my son. You know, I think that he's healthy and that he's doing well, and that you have these blessings and miracles every day that we take for granted. So no matter how bad things get in our life, God still gives us things every day to hold on to, and we just have to look for them. And so that's what this is. It's a really deep song. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what is the hardest part for you in either the songwriting or the performing?
I think we're seeing this in the age that we live in, is that, and I've just seen this from other people that I've been around, is just the things that nobody sees when nobody's looking. You know, just the testing and the trials, and you know, staying, you know, keeping pure of heart to the ministry that God calls you to. And I mean, if you're going to go out and do something like this, you're going to be tested.
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to be tested big time.
That's
big time.
right. And what would you
Yeah.
say are some of your greatest joys?
My greatest joys are, as far as the things that I do in relation to this, are, you know, when someone can connect with my music, and it speaks to them in some way, or God touches their heart, or God speaks to them, and you know, those are things that money can't buy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And how would you encourage people who might be feeling called to songwriting? I mean, it's a really tough place to be, you know, to get into the industry at all, to be able to perform, to especially get a record deal or whatever. So how would you encourage them?
If I was encouraging people to get involved, I would say, you know, go get involved with someone that does that, or whether it's worship or whatever, and that has a really great heart for that, and just, you know, serve them and serve their vision. And, you know, that's what I did.
And
I'm
let
still,
the Lord
I'm still,
open the doors?
Yeah. Well, and learn, and you know, I mean, I still, like, I have a really good friend, Justin Jarvis, amazing worship leader. You know, there's still things that I try to do to help him out, because you don't ever forget where you came from, and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to say, either about the album or, you know?
Please get it. Please get it. So also, people can find us at House of Peace, houseofpeaceband.com is our website, and we're on Facebook. We're a little active on Twitter, but mostly on Facebook. So,
Okay. Well, thank you so much for
thank
being our
you.
guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share